Hi, this is Joel from Squidpod. This is extra footage from the protest on April 12th, 2008. Sort of to tide you over until our podcast comes out. Just like the last little bit we released, we do not endorse this. Squidpod does not endorse any of the themes featured in this little video. So, enjoy.
Just to get that on camera again, just a quick, and we'll wait until, we'll just keep running.
First of all, our presence here is to promote public awareness. Public awareness of the crimes that the organization has committed, the policies which are unfair to both the members and to critics, and also in hopes that we reach out to the people in the church today who have been subject to something called disconnection. The theme of this protest today is called Operation+Reconect. Now, disconnection is a policy, and again, targeting suppressive people or people who are critical of the church, that any member who is within the church currently, if they have a person, either a spouse or a friend or a family member, who is critical at all or seems to be holding them back, that they either are supposed to what they call handle, which means sort of deal with the problem, try to sort of get the problem sorted out, and if they cannot, then to disconnect, which is exactly as it sounds, disconnection of any form of communication between that Scientologist and the suppressive person who is, supposedly going after them. And our protest today is to bring awareness to this policy that we feel damages and destroys families, friendships, and all manner of human relationships that are broken by this policy. Well, Scientology has a number of policies, sorry about that, which require them to hire the services of private investigators. Any critic of Scientology is considered a potential trouble source or possibly even a suppressive person. Hubbard, the person who had founded the organization, was very clear that these people are as much information must be found out about them, used against them, in order to silence their criticism. It's not just as sinister as finding something, but if they can't find anything, then they're supposed to manufacture, and that is policy of the organization.
And is that written? And is that written somewhere, or how do we know this is policy?
It's written in a set of documents called the Hubbard Communications Office Policy Letters. For the most part, those documents are not available to the public. They're not so much secrets in the sense that they encourage the members of the organization to buy them. And a number of former members of the organization have attested to verifying the documents that specify the orders which Hubbard gave. It's very well documented, but of course the church will be very keen to tell you that they're either grossly out of context or manipulated in some form. The reality is that they're also, they're extremely litigious in the sense that if you present a document and say you only quote it, they'll quickly tell you that it's out of context. Okay. But if you provide the whole document, then they'll try to sue you for copyright infringement. It's a very tricky game with them. Anything that can be done to bring these people back together to be a family again is what we're here today to push.
Well, thank you very much, Anonymous. Thank you for your time today. This is Jen signing off for the moment with Squidpod. So we are here with another Anonymous here at the...
I'm excited.
That's all right.
No. Oh, what'd you say?
He gets off on rants a lot.
That's what I do.
And why is there no hierarchy, and why is that important in this protest?
Like, no one even decided that there'd be no hierarchy, right? Like, it's just because all of us go to the same websites, all of us laugh at the same jokes, and we were all laughing at the Tom Cruise video. All of a sudden, they take it down, and we're like, "Hey, we missed that. Where'd it go?" And so everyone just said, "Well, hey, let's just do it and hit the streets." And someone said, "Hey, February 10th," and everyone showed up. Someone says, "Hey, March 15th," boom, everyone's there. But the asset of there being no leaders is that there's no one for Scientology to sue.
One of the main points of this protest.
This protest, yeah. And it's mostly in response to also that they're calling us things like Nazis and cyber terrorists and all these things, and we're saying no, we're just silly kids from the internet, you know. But we can see that there's a big problem with this. It's the craziest thing.
Well, thank you again, anonymous number 4. This is Jen with SquidPod signing off for the moment.
There's a good chance. Well, we're not really too sure how they're gonna react to this because they've never actually encountered a group as big as ours.
How someone could do some of the nasty stuff they were doing, and it was how wrong it was, and how I thought it was damaging to all faiths to have someone going around saying their religion and doing these horrible things. So then I made one post saying that something negative about Scientology, and just about the time I finished hitting the send button, I was getting an email from Scientology saying, "Have you ever said a critical thing again?" La, 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 la. Wow, it scared me so much. I turned the machine off. I dumped all my records and everything about being on religion Scientology, and I was really scared. And then I went for a second. Wait a second. Who the hell are they to say to me I can't free speech? So I went back on, and I made some more negative comments, and I said some radical things. And a critic by the name of Roland from Europe said, he contacted me in email, and he said, "If you want to say it, you gotta back up whatever you're going to say, and this is the places you find out." And he gave me really good advice. So I became buddies with him. He's an ex-Scientologist at the time in England. He was trying to get his money back. He went out in a picket one day in England trying to get his money back, and some Scientologists lost it and attacked him and beat him up a little bit, punched him out. So that very next day, after I heard about that, I put up an advertisement on ARS saying that I was going to organize a picket in Toronto. I was going to organize a picket, and anybody wanted to meet me at Brothers Restaurant on such and such a day, I was going to throw a picket. So I made up picket signs, 4 of them. I didn't think it'd be a big turnout. And I had to file a notice of demonstration according to the police, which was a lie at the time. So I filled out the form. I didn't know that Scientology could get a hold of that under FOIA. So before I even got here, they had my name. And they were digging stuff up on me. And we did 3 people, and they made fun of us, saying, "Oh, there's only 3 people, what a big turnout." The trouble was, we kept coming back and back and back. They attacked my family. They tried to get me fired from my job. They tried to get my wife fired from my job. But what I was doing in the background is I was organizing a whole bunch of ex-Scientologists, and it was hard to do in those days, and academics, to put together a giant package, because I was aware that Scientology was trying to get charity status in Canada, and I put together a huge presentation. I took it to Ottawa, and with the coaching of ex-Scientologists, some very high-level ones, I made a presentation to Revenue Canada that sunk Scientology's effort to get charity status. I exposed the fact that Scientology teaches that to reward the downstat is out exchange. In English, that means to help the poor is really bad karma. Now, you can advocate all sorts of radical things in Canada, but you can't act on them. Scientology acts on not helping the poor. Well, how can you get charity status if you don't help the poor? That's strike 1. The next strike is that in Canada you have to have an element of theistic belief. You have to have a spiritual element that is established. Hubbard wrote that the heaven was a fraud and that God didn't exist. And second, and the third thing of all, is that Scientology's principal occupation is retail. Right on their own organization chart, which by the way is titled the Organization Chart of Scientology, not the Church of Scientology, it says right on it, in the lower left-hand corner, in a very bold type, it says the purpose of orgs, the purpose of Scientology buildings, is to have satisfied customers.